Okay, guys, welcome to Energy Readings with Shelby Aesthetic. I'm your host, Shelby Aesthetic. So I'm so excited about tonight. We have been, I say we, like there's more than one of me, but I have been trying to have Kathleen on my show for a while, so this is exciting for me. The last two times we were scheduled, of course, something happened and we couldn't meet up, but it's all in perfect timing. So I'm going to bring Kathleen on in just a few minutes, but before I do, I'd like to talk a little bit about what's going on my show the rest of this month and then kind of into November. If you guys have been listening to any of the old archive shows, you'll know that I just put I say it's a short series on Inside the Chakras. It's really just a lot of information on a blog that I had written, but it's really cool series. I didn't do them back to back, so if you go to my show page, thoroughbetty.com, on the show page, you can see the old archives. You should also be able to go to IntuiTalks.com and look it up there. We are broadcasting from the IntuiTalks platform for anybody that's listening on iHeartRadio, Google Play, wherever you're listening from. We're broadcasting from IntuiTalks. And I always try to talk a little bit about IntuiTalks at the beginning of my show because I am in love with this network. It's a community for spiritually like-minded people and even people that aren't really like-minded but just have spirituality as their, in their heart. So there's tons of different things going on also. The network seems like it's growing, it's active, it just feels good. It's good to be a part of this. Anyway, if you're wanting to build a spiritual website or have your own podcast, this is a fantastic platform to look into. The owner, Jenny, she's just amazing, and I can never say enough good things about her, so check it out, IntuiTalks.com. Okay, so actually there is a bunch of stuff coming up. So next week, the 17th, I'm sorry, that's not next week. Next week, we're going to do a show connecting in to the soul. So that'll be, that we won't be doing readings on that show. But on the 17th, I'm having Selena B back. I had some people request to have her back on, so and it works out great for me because she lives right by me, so I can just call her up. And then Corrine will be here on the 24th. There's not going to be a show on the 31st. That's Halloween. My kiddos, one of my kiddos' favorite holidays. So we have to make sure that we're trick-or-treating and not being on the radio. So the week before Corrine de Winter, the Purple Plates lady, she's going to be on, and we're going to do some ghost stories and talk about some creepy stuff. I really wanted her to do it and be on because her voice is awesome when she reads stuff. So hopefully we'll get to hear some of her work also. She'll be sharing with us. And then on the 7th, I have somebody coming, and we're going to talk about her journey in spirituality. Her name's Sue, and we'll be doing some readings at the end of that show, and that'll be on the 7th. So this week on IntuiTalks, tomorrow, Jenny's having a show tomorrow. Jenny, the owner, look, I'm getting all excited about this. This is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to hear this show. Jenny is she's an incredible lady. She has an amazing energy. There's just, I wish I could just go on about her, but I don't want to keep gushing about Jenny. But let's check that show out. It's 4 Eastern. It's on manifestation. She's got a lot of really fun topics every time I talk to her. So this will be a good show. At 10 o'clock Eastern on Friday, Barbara DeLong is on Curious Times, and Saturday, Kimber Lee is on Curious Times. Curious Times is one of my favorite shows on IntuiTalks. I don't usually ever get to go listen live because I'm usually sleeping. I go to bed really early. But I usually listen to the archives, and I always laugh. I love that show. It's so funny being when I do get to go on there live, because I listen to them all the time, her, Chris, and her guest. So I always feel like close to them, kind of connected to them, and then I'm like, I'm laughing along in the show. But I love going on live when I can. I just can never stay up long enough. But she's got a great show, so check that out. Sunday, It looks like John Cassidy's on Angel Meadows, and then 9 o'clock, the Small Elk is doing the series Empowering Women. I think that is a private show, so you'll have to contact them to be able to listen, I believe. And then Hillary Black is on 10 p.m. on Curious Times also. So check it out. Curious Times has shows almost every night. I don't know how she does that. It's pretty cool. And tonight our guest, Kathleen Moore, Psychic Medium Kathleen Moore, she's actually been a big part of Curious Times. We'll pull her on here because I know that she's actually, I don't know how long she's been participating on that. Are you there, Kathleen?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Kathleen. Welcome. I'm so excited.
Hello. I'm so excited too. I'm very, very glad my dog heard me say hello, so now she's barking.
Oh, is this the Great Dane?
Yeah, that's my older one, and I have a puppy now as well.
They're so cute. So you have been on doing Curious Times for a while now. You're like well versed with IntuiTalks.
Yes, I've been. I think it's been 4 years. It might even be longer than that, but it's been 4 years. Like I started with her the week before she moved to IntuiTalks, and IntuiTalks started, and we've been on it ever since. So. It's been a while. It's been since IntuiTalks started, so yeah. And
well, I love Chris, and I love that show too. So it's fun to listen to you guys.
I have a good time. I really enjoy. I enjoy just being on, and I would probably have my own show. I mean, my website is through IntuiTalks, and I do a lot of stuff through IntuiTalks, but I have such a crappy old computer, and I'm so technology impaired that I really don't, I have to learn. Somebody's trying to teach me all of that right now, so hopefully I'll be able to retain it. My brain's a little old, but, I've been doing it a long time with Chris, and I really enjoy it. It's something that I feel very connected to, and I really enjoy what Jenny's done with the platform, and it's just amazing how much of the whole community has grown. I've met some very amazing people through it, like including yourself and Renee Richards and Amy Kavanaugh and Jenny and Chris. I've met some amazing people in it, so it's just a wonderful place to connect.
It really is. It really is. I may be on a little bit of delay, so if I start talking over you, I don't mean to do it. Sorry.
That's okay.
Well, okay, Kathleen, I'm really glad, even though you're a regular over there, that you came over to my show. So the first time I actually heard you was on Curious Times, so that's how I met you, and like you, I've met a lot of really incredible people through IntuiTalks.com. So I remember though, this was back, I guess, it's been like 2 years now. And I've said this before on my show. I used to wake up really early in the morning and go to work. I usually wake up at around 3 o'clock, and then I'd go to work. I'd be there around 5:30, and I would just listen to the podcast in the morning. That would be the thing to kind of get me through that. So I want to tell you that I appreciate you being on her show, and again, when I say I have gratitude for IntuiTalks, I truly mean that, because that was such a strange time for me in my life, and I had no spiritual connections at all. And I actually stumbled on IntuiTalks through Renee Richards, and then I met all you guys. So I'm very grateful for all of you guys. All right, stop it.
I am as well, and it's really nice to I listen to a lot of the shows in the archives as well, because I do a lot of readings in the evenings because I have clients in other time zones, so I can't always catch the evening shows or the late night shows.
Yeah.
So when and that's the way I start my day too. I start my coffee and I listen to some of them. Some of them I listen to on Google Play and YouTube. So it's pretty cool there too, because I can just click on it and hear it all, and I just put my headphones in and I start my morning that way. So
Yeah,
it's been a really cool. It's a really cool environment too. And everybody that has come to the shows that I've been on, they've just said that they feel so comfortable. They feel like they're in the room with everybody, and I think that's really the difference between IntuiTalks and other places is everybody feels like they're in the same room. Everybody feels like they're talking with friends. It's just got a really laid-back energy to it. So
yeah, and it's very welcoming. Very welcoming.
It really is.
Well, so for the people that don't know, and I mentioned that you have been doing this for a long time, but I kind of wanted to talk about you for just a minute before we get into some of the. I sent Kathleen a big long email with all these different questions that I wanted to ask her about crystals because I knew I would forget. But I wanted to talk about you also. So you've been doing this for 2 decades, you said?
This past September, it's almost 30 years. 30 years.
3 decades.
I started professionally reading when I was 18, doing tarot cards and little private events, and then I went to college for fish and wildlife management, interpretive sciences, and environmental science. Because I was really connected to nature and have been my whole life. So I was like, well, I might as well get a degree in it and get paid for it. So,
right.
so I did that, but, and then, I read, it was a seasonal job, so I've been reading, for about 30 years, so it's always something I've done, it's just something that's always been there. But as a business, I've been doing it for quite a while. Back then there was a lot of people that were like, oh, it's a gift, you can't charge for it, you can't make money at it, and so I'd work myself to death and do it by donation or just strictly give readings away, and it turned out to be very, very exhausting, and actually for a while scared me away from it because I was like, why is it so exhausting? It was so hard to do, and then it really occurred to me because I spent so much time in nature and so much time, with spirit that it came to me very quickly that there's a reason why you're still doing it all the time. It's because this is what you're meant to do. So, and I absolutely love it. So there's you have good days and bad days, just like you do in any job, and you have sour apples, and there's going to be the naysayers, and I always say, without the naysayers, nothing would get done in this world.
Right. Well, you're right, and I think you bring up a really good point too, because I think that's a hot topic for debate in a lot of the forums and stuff that I'm in is should you charge people for readings? So, and of course, in the very beginning, when I very first was getting started, I'm like, well, I guess I'm not supposed to, but I'm an artist also, and I'm also by schooling a horticulturist by trade. So I don't do any of those 2 things for free. That's my time and my energy that I'm investing into something. And so I really looked at doing psychic work the same way because it's for me, and I don't know about you, Kathleen, but for me, I have to get ready to do the reading, and then I do the reading, and then after the reading, I like to do a little bit more work. And really, I guess, even if you don't put that much investment into, stuff before and after the reading, it's still your time, which is the most valuable thing that we have, is to give people is our time, our precious time.
Absolutely.
Not our as the psychic, but the people in general. I feel like time is the most valuable asset that we have to give to others.
Absolutely. And time, once it's spent, can't be rebought, and people forget that. And I think that with being psychic or a medium or an energy reader or a healer, any of those things, people are, I really found that it is like an artist. An artist doesn't paint the same picture every time. Everybody gets paid for their abilities. So I prefer the term abilities over gift. Because when people call, say it's a gift, then it's something that has to be given. And so I use the term abilities, and I've always had the ability, and I truly don't. I've had a lot of people send me messages, you shouldn't be charging for this, this should be done, just answer this question for me, and people don't realize how much energy goes into it. And I try to put it that way. I'm like, what did you do at work today? And they're like, well, I had to do this and that, I had to do, point A, point B, point C. And I'm like, well, it's the same thing with this. There's meditation that's involved. We're channeling energy. We're connecting with, more than one energy around us. We're trying to help and heal and channel all of that. And that takes time. And I think this is one thing where we're still a little bit become very mainstream, but everybody still thinks it's at the drop of a hat. Like, they'll meet you and, what do you do for a living? And I'll say, well, I'm a psychic medium. Oh my gosh, tell me something I don't know.
Right.
If I told you something you don't know, how could you confirm it, And
that is so funny.
It is. And I never get angry at it, because I think it's awesome, because I'm like, this shows enthusiasm, it shows connection, it shows they're fascinated by it. Normally we all have intuitive abilities, but if everybody could be an energy reader, if everybody could be a medium, then nothing would get done in this world either. We're all here to play a part, and we all have abilities that we get paid for, that's part of the synergy of everything moving together. But there's truly enough for everybody. And this is the one thing that I've noticed is so many people think there isn't enough for everybody. And it gets very, in this, and I don't like to use the term industry, but in this community, there'll be a lot of people that say, well, you can't go to so-and-so, or you can't do this, or you have to do it that way. And I constantly say, well, there's enough for everybody. So when I get that, tell me something I don't know, or tell me something fascinating, some people take it as an insult, that they're saying, prove to me you're psychic. Well, that's not what they're saying. What they're saying is, oh my gosh, I'm enthusiastic, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, I want to know more. But there is, and then there are some that they're like, well, how about you read me, and then we'll see if you're right. That'll be a really good, we can prove to your followers then. And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't have followers. And second of all, I don't come to your place of work and say, hey, praise to me, you're a banker, give me $500 for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put it that way, they really do notice quite a difference with it. But it's become very, back in the day when I was doing it, it was like I got lectured all the time. I had people send me Bible verses. I had a lot of misconception that people didn't understand. About it. And I feel education is the key for everything. And as a natural,
I totally agree. I totally agree. Because I think even on shows and stuff, it's really sensationalized. They're only showing you the best parts. They're adding the dramatic music and all this other stuff. So I think a lot of times, especially new people that have not had psychic readings, a lot of times will go to a psychic medium and expect the exact same thing that they've seen on television or on YouTube or something like that. So, and all of us are different, and we all work differently. So that's a good point, though. Very good point.
And everybody does receive their messages differently. It's an amazing, very, very blessed, and I love what I do. And I'm very, I hope to be doing it for a number of years to come. And that's just something I really like. And I'm so amazed at how much the spiritual community has grown. I'm self-taught because I couldn't find anybody that was kind enough, but I didn't even know where to look. Now I know where to look, and there's all these resources, and there's all these people that are willing to help, and people that are really about, I've always said, since I was 15, I used to tell my dad, I would say, there's a difference between sharing knowledge and controlling knowledge. And I said, there's all these people that are controlling knowledge. How do you get the knowledge when people are controlling it? They only give you a little bit of what you need, not all of what you need. And, my dad said to me once, he said, well, sometimes the student will surpass the teacher, and sometimes the teacher just retires, so then you have to find your own way. So even though somebody might teach me how to build a birdhouse a certain way, I might build it. I have the fundamentals from that teacher, but I might build the birdhouse, put the nails in a different order, or put it together in a different way, and it works for me and it comes out beautifully. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means that it's done in a way that our energy feels fluent, it feels controlled, it feels wonderful, it feels connected. So, and that's the one thing I have noticed, is that there's the spiritual community in the last few years has come in with all this love and this wanting to share knowledge and wanting to be a part of it. Of course, you always have your sour apples, but what would life be without the sour apples? You would have nobody to talk about.
Yeah, and I think the other point to kind of take in on that too, because you were talking about the teacher and learning different ways and becoming your own, and I really think like a good teacher is somebody that tells you that your boat may be assembled a little bit differently, but it's not wrong either. So I'm really glad you brought that point up tonight, because there's I think with the internet age happening, the people's access to information has just wiped out anything prior to what we knew about gathering information and stuff like that. It's made people feel connected in ways that probably they haven't since the tiny villages were the thing, and those were the people that you communicated with. And I feel like us having so much information can also be really overwhelming, because there is so much information out there. So, but you're right. I think sometimes people just need a little help finding, their little path that they need to stay on. So as long as we're willing to, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sorry, my phone cut out for a second. As long as we're willing to continue, our search for knowledge and always trying to grow, I think that as a human race that will continue to excel. But really keeping this stuff and not sharing it with other people, I think, is what's kept. Well, it's like the Dark Ages. Here we've come a long way with that. In the chat room, Jenny said earlier, she said you can't pay your bills on love and light, and I started laughing because I think that's hilarious, and I wanted to share it.
It's so true. It's so true, and I'll have people that are like, well, can we negotiate the price? And I'm like, no, we really can't. And people don't realize they think that you're pocketing all of it too. Like everybody charges a different price for their ability or what they're offering. But if people say, well, you make this much and this much, and I'm like, well, we have overhead costs, we have bills, we have, websites, we have all this stuff that people just don't think. They think that the psychic knows the winning lottery numbers, and we're keeping this like, it's almost like we're the dragons of the physical world. We're the dragons of the physical world. We're sitting on a hoard. So, and these are, again, I think that's a misconception that comes from Hollywood. I think that comes from what they see on TV, and what they don't see is, like you said, the 1,000 hours of editing that's been cut and is on the editing floor. Because we want to keep watching, and who's going to keep watching if they hear every week, hey, your grandma's really happy and, had a really good life. So there has to be tragedy, there has to be something that pulls people in. And I think with the internet, like you bring up a really good point with that. The internet, people were able to explore the psychic abilities, their intuitive abilities in such a way that, they didn't feel like they were going against their religion or going against the people that loved them. And it really opened up the door to a lot. I just think we're in this spiritual evolution, and it's just absolutely amazing. I feel Mother Nature is in tune with that, so I think she is righting herself. And when I say it that way, I don't mean that she's creating this awful, wipeout or, zombie apocalypse or whatever you want to call it. I feel she's just righting herself, and she's doing it in a very slow, in its evolution, and we're doing that as well. our kids are more in tune with their bodies and their spirit and the connection to other people than they've ever been before. A lot of people, talk about how the millennials won't change the world and they're lazy. I don't know. I think there's lazy in every generation. I think there's go-getters in every generation. But I really feel this generation is here to change the world. And we
I agree with you. I agree with you. You can almost, there's so many, I think especially the very young generation, the kindness that I see happening with them. I'm talking like between middle school and high school, right? And watching some of the displays of acts of kindness coming from those generations, it blows me away. I wasn't thinking about helping anybody when I was that age. That makes sense.
Yeah. No.
So it's also very, very, very cool to see that.
Yeah, and they're so loving. It's like they're, and they find their voices. And we, in my time period, I think you're younger than me, but in my time period, it was like I call my parents' generation the secret keepers. My parents' generation were the secret keepers. You swept everything under the rug, and all the secrets got swept under the rug. And, then our generation came around, and we were angry because there were secret keepers. And, and that's when we started exploring, you saw a lot more drug abuse, you saw a lot of dropouts, you saw a lot of independence, but I feel like the late 70s, all through the 80s was the rebellious period. It's the rebels, and people don't recognize evolution in that way. That's the way I see it. It's a personal opinion. I feel that we were the rebels. We were the ones that paved the way for the next generation that we had. They're the millennials that are going to change it. We had technology advance so very quickly. It went from, a big giant bag phone to these little tiny phones that would fit in your, on a keychain if you really wanted them to. So, and that's just the phone. The technology accelerated so much in 10 years. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that, but we got so connected, we became disconnected. And our kids, everybody says they're they're always on their phones, they're always on TV, they're always on video games. They might be, but they're way more aware than we were. Even though we were out playing and everything, they are so much more aware.
They really are. They really are. I think this is I had this aha moment not too long ago. My son was, I think he was sick or something, or his friend was sick or something. Anyway, they were playing a game, but one of them was at home sick from school. That's what it was. And I said, because he homeschools, and then at lunch sometimes he gets on and plays video games. And then I saw him playing with one of his friends. I said, what is he doing home from school? And he's like, he was sick, so, we're just talking for a little bit. And it was just, like, I never did that when I was in school. When I was, if I had to stay home, I had to stay home. I couldn't still communicate with my friends. I didn't, there was none of that. And the way that they play with each other, even like, I know this sounds ridiculous to a lot of people listening because they're like, kids need to get outside more. But they play the same games that we played, only they play on, he plays with kids all over the country. He plays hide and seek on, I don't know what game, Minecraft or something like that. He plays hide and seek with them, but he plays with kids in other countries. He talks to kids in other countries, and I love that. I love that for him. We still get him out and, do physical things and try to be physical, but the way the communication age has happened with, even through video games, they're learning teamwork, they're learning social interactions. Times are just changing. It's not, we're not writing on slate boards anymore. So now we have to charge our books before school, but really the only difference is we're working more with electricity. I really feel like kids are still connected, though, even if they're not, playing outside and hitting each other with sticks. I still feel like the connection that they have with each other is a big deal. And watching how they play their games and how things unfold for them in their life and the choices that even my own son makes, then I'm like, I would have never thought to do that when I was his age. It's beautiful. I love it.
It's really amazing too, because everybody says, "Oh, I'm worried about how isolated they are," and you know, like you said, my daughter's talking to somebody a world away. I mean, there's dangers that come with that, but there's always dangers, and we need to be aware of that. But my daughter's talking to people that I would never even be able to, you know, I mean, you did pen pal back then, but you got maybe one letter back or something because, you know, snail mail was snail mail.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. And it's just, I'm just so blessed, and I really love what I do, and I love being in this community. Like I said, and every time, I don't do a lot of shows, but every time I do, like, you know, shows like psychic fairs and events like that, every time I do it, I'm like, I need to do more of these, because you meet these amazing people that pop up and they hug you and they say, "Oh my gosh, it was so good. I came here just to meet you." And
I like that.
Yeah, it's just this amazing feeling.
Now, you just did a show, right? Was that like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago. And all the other vendors, you know, I mean, of course, that's what they call, you know, everybody's a vendor, but it was so nice. It was such an amazing show. Like, everybody was so nice. Everybody helped each other. There wasn't that. It was probably one of the best shows I've ever done. It was just amazing. I met beautiful people. I met beautiful souls. I had beautiful readings there. I just had a wonderful, wonderful time. So I was.
Oh, I like that.
Very, very glad.
Now, how often are you doing them now? You do those a couple times a year, right?
Yeah, I do like 4 a year, but I'm looking to do some more because I really like this promoter. And the one promoter that does Gift of Light, Kelly Bowman, she's pretty amazing too. She works really, really well with people, and she's one of those sharing knowledge kind of people. She really makes a point to stop by and talk to every vendor and you know, ask them if they need any help, or if it's their first show, or, you know, if she knows you from her past shows, she gives you a big hug and talks about what's been going on in her life. She's just a really great, and she does the Gift of Light expos in Cleveland and Columbus, and then in Hilliard, Ohio, and they're amazing too. I usually do her show. I love Victory of Light. They're in Cincinnati, but the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo is all over. They go Chicago, Raleigh, Tampa, Denver, Columbus. They go all over, and the vendors are just amazing. I had a wonderful time.
That's fun. I love that. I've actually never been to a I guess I don't know that they all call them all like psychic fairs. I don't know if that's I don't know what all they're called, but that type of environment, I don't think I've ever, I've never actually been to one. They had something here, but it wasn't. It's not like that here. It was different. I'll say that. But I would love to go to one of those. When I saw some of your pictures too that you had put up, because you don't just do the psychic stuff. This is one of the topics that I kind of want to talk about. You sell your merchandise there too, right? Your crystals and I do. I sell crystals that I pick out when I'm on my adventures. I've bought a few crystals online, but normally I'll buy them online for my personal collection. But everything else that I sell at the shows, I do. They're picked by psychic vibration when I'm on what I call my adventures. My husband and I will just take off and go places, and we'll find them. We'll find really neat, unique things. So I do sell those at the shows. I do pick them according to psychic vibration. So I don't have like a lot of everything. Like some people will have. Sometimes I'll pick out 30 or 40 different different type of stone hearts or little worry stones that you can keep in your pocket and stuff like that, because I think those are really, they're good for gifts. They're good for people to start out with feeling the vibration of a crystal, because crystals are pretty new to people. So,
And it's really fascinating because there's some crystals you'll look at and you're like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful, and then you touch it and you're like, well, I feel sick to my stomach, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't. I feel that crystals have to connect to your energy, just like you know, a plant or an animal or something else that's in your life that you hold dear to you, or a ring or something like that. But crystals all carry an earth vibration. To me, I feel a very low hum every time I come into contact with crystals. I cannot for the life of me, don't know why, but like malachite, which is this green stone that everybody just really loves, it makes me sicker than a dog every time I hold it. My vibration gets low, my stomach hurts, I get a headache right away. You know, and I never really thought about it before, but because I've always worked in nature, I never really thought about, you know, the crystals. When people talk about healing crystals and stuff, when I felt that instant reaction with that particular crystal,
wow,
then I
that's
really
interesting.
understood. That's when I really understood. Wow, these really do carry a vibration.
Well, and I hear people talk all the time about crystals having their own personalities, which you kind of touched on a little bit too, and or they'll mention their stones have certain personality traits, I guess, like they can feel its love, or they can feel its whatever. And I wonder, is some of that our desire that it's picking up and reflecting back to us? Which I think crystals and stones are such an interesting thing anyway, right? So it's part of Mother Earth, which holds its own overall vibration, and we ground into it all the time. So why wouldn't a piece of Earth, just like a plant, hold its own vibration, its own personality? I mean, why couldn't it, right? Because we're part of Source and we're each individualized here. So why wouldn't that be possible for stones and stuff like that? So do you feel like stones carry human traits like that, or are you saying they just sort of have a certain vibration that they have overall?
Well, I think that as human beings, we put human interaction onto everything to humanize it, because then we can justify the connection that it's cosmic. And again, we've been taught for years that, you know, the connection has to have a scientific connection or resource to it. So I think that we sometimes will put human connection onto ancient beings or ancient connections like trees and plants and rocks and crystals. I do feel crystals do carry a personality, but they always seem to come in when you need them. And it's really weird, because I find that clear crystals, like clear quartz, overall have this, you know, they're the life of the party. They're the one that everybody really connects with, and they're cleansed, they're clear, they could be anything anybody wants them to be. So I feel that they carry a little bit of a higher vibration, and I feel that people are always attracted to the crystal that they need. And once I started getting to know them, again, it's just been in the last few years that, you know, I've always played with rocks, I've always collected crystals, but I never really listened to their vibration until the last few years. And then it really hit me. You know, there was like one time I went through this amethyst phase. It was like amethyst everything. And then when I found out what amethyst does, it totally made sense to where I was in my life. So even though I humanized it, the vibration of amethyst really helped me along the path and the journey I was on at that time. Another time I was like there were times where I was feeling very insecure or scared, or like I needed protection, and it's hard to feel safe with some people. And I was really attracted to tourmaline. I was buying black tourmaline, red tourmaline, green and pink and red. You know, everything I could get my hands on that was tourmaline, I was picking up. And I couldn't figure out why, because, you know, there was the first one I picked up, I was like, man, this isn't really pretty. This is kind of ugly. It's like a lump of coal.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, why am I so attracted to that? So then when I started researching it, I really thought that I was attracted to the crystals that carried the vibration of what I needed. at that time. So then I really started picking them according to vibration and what I was feeling, what I felt it was talking to me, how, and it sounds a little bit crazy, but then I started getting clients that were like, could you please shop for me? And I would meditate and connect with their energy, and then I would go looking for a specific crystal for them. And I really felt,
I love that. I think that is such a personalized, especially for people that may not be able to feel energy, Kathleen. I am in love with the fact that you do that. The first time I ever heard about you doing that, I thought, man, how cool is that? Not that you can't go pick your own out, of course, but if you've got somebody that's trained to being tuned into energy that way, why not? I love that idea. I think that is like kick ass. I think that's like the coolest thing. One of the things that what I found interesting is because I connect with plants a lot, and I do connect with crystals and stuff, but I just have this thing for dirt. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Just whatever. But anyway, but what I found is even with a pile of dirt, or if it's a puddle of water or anything like that, I can, just as you can with a crystal or a rock, you can do divination with those things. And it got me thinking about crystals and how, because when I do readings and stuff, I try to ground myself really well and everything. And those crystals really help bring that element of earth back to me. So I liked what you were talking about, not only the reflection of the individual that's using it, but also what your intentions are for using it. With the crystals, do you feel like, say, like a crystal versus, I don't know, like a rock or a gem, or do you feel like all of those sort of have the same things, or do you feel like crystals are more like particularly of a higher vibration?
Well, I think that crystals are a little more ancient. It's taken, thousands of years and hundreds of years, and rain and water and seasons passing and changes and everything. They're almost like scholars or record keepers. So I feel the crystals carry a little bit higher vibration, but then you have the ancient wisdom. I think that people look at rocks as just rocks. They don't realize that the gravel in your driveway, was created by nature, and it has ancient wisdom in it. I have a friend that reads trees. Like, he feels so connected to trees and wood, and he works with wood, and everything about it is a gift for him. But to him, a rock is just a rock. I can show him like this crystal. I'm like, look at this awesome crystal, and he's like, well, it's a rock. It doesn't matter if it,
Right. There's not that connection.
Right. So I think that it's pretty amazing that there's this ancient wisdom. So when you say rock, I think they all start out as rocks. They all start out as a pile of dirt. They all start out as a living entity or being, and then they're just these record keepers, or these these scholars that keep moving us along. And it's so funny because kids feel the vibration. Like, you'll see kids and they'll start digging up, they'll pick up rocks that are in their driveway. They'll find the prettiest rock in the driveway. Like, where did you find that? They're like, oh, it was right here. And it's amazing because they're closer to the center of the earth. That's what I would say. The reason why kids see everything is because they're closer at that eye level. So, I feel crystals have this amazing, it's a transformation. Like, I always feel a transformation in crystals. Where with just regular rocks, I feel like this ancient sentinel being. I don't know how else to describe it. So I think there's a difference with that. And I think that sometimes, just like anything, you have to use your intuition and your energy of what you're connected to. Like the crystal that you got for me, like that, you immediately were connected to it. You immediately saw it, you liked it, you felt connected to it, you felt the energy of it, and it was perfect. And you know, I had it for a long time, and I'm like, I love the energy of her. And I always felt like it was a her. You know, it never.
Same here.
Yeah, and it's really amazing how that happens. But I think that everything in nature is trying to teach us something, but sometimes as humans we're so arrogant we don't listen.
I know. How dare us? How dare us?
Yes.
No, I love it, and I agree with you. And I love, because now my son picked out I want to say it was quartz little skull that we got from you. I think it was quartz. And I freaking love that thing. So it's on my bookshelf right now. I just took it out of his room the other day because I love it so much. It's great. But I just find the energies of those things to be so powerful sometimes, and they really do clear. I have a couple of things, my own things that I just kind of keep close to me to use for different things. You mentioned tourmaline, which is like it looks like a big chunk of coal, but the feeling that you get from some of these things is absolutely. You can feel it. I mean, the hair on your arm will stand up. Well, some of them do. And I've heard about healing stones, but what are some of the other reasons people choose to work with crystals? I know people use it for manifesting. Do you have any recommendations, like for specific stones for certain things like psychic development or sex and intimate relationships? What about schooling, education, stuff like that?
Well, I find that, like, if you want to start with education, like studying and retaining information, I really love rainbow fluorite. Rainbow fluorite has this amazing ability of bringing all, you know, it has all different colors in it. It has an amazing way of swirling it all together to make it look uniform when it's really not. It's really good for studying and retaining information, and so is anything that's grounded like jasper, picture jasper, red jasper, Kambaba jasper. All of these are really, really earth connected. They're very grounding stones to me. Now, there's there's a website online that I look at a lot called healingcrystals.com. It's just absolutely amazing. And they have a plethora of information, and you can type in their search engine what kind, you know, crystals to help me with love, and it'll pop up all the crystals that will help you with that.
It's like a database.
And I just happened to stumble upon it one day because I found this stone, and I knew it was a crystal, but it looked almost like I want to say it looked like granite, but I knew it wasn't granite. And I'm like, I cannot figure out what the stone is. I could feel the vibration of it. I could see it in my head, and I could not retrieve the information. So I went online and started, you know, I put in pink and black stone and, you know, and hit up images and stuff. And that's how I happened upon that site. And it turned out to be a verticrosite, and I don't know how it got into the big gravel, you know, that I was shoveling at the time, but it was like, there it was, and everything I needed at that time was there. So like I said, I needed grounding at that time. I needed to feel like I was on the right path, because often when you're on the right path, somebody tell you you're not, which is usually your ego, not necessarily somebody else, but your ego. And I was really having a hard time following through and finishing with connections and, you know, just doing the follow-through kind of thing. And that stone popped up right in front of me when I needed it. And so there's all different ones. Quartz is good for clearing any kind of negative energy, clear quartz. You talked about that. It's good at clearing energies and getting rid of negative energy and bringing in positive energy. That's what I love about clear quartz. I love clear quartz because of that, because if you're having just a day where your thoughts are jumbled, grabbing clear quartz or touching it can really put everything in order, like in alignment, almost like a list. Rose quartz is is known for its ability to bring romance in, love, fertility, forgiveness, and all of that. It also helps with sleep. Tourmalines are all protective energy. You know, there's protective energy, especially with black tourmaline. A lot of people will think the black is dark, and they're like, oh, what's this for? And I'm like, it's for protection. It protects you from psychic attack. It protects you from emotional abuse. It's a good stone to have when you're trying to find your courage. It's an amazing stone. So, you know, it's really interesting, and I do find that people are very. Seraphonite is this gorgeous green with white, I call it angel wings. It almost always looks like there's angel wings in it.
Oh, cool. What is that called?
It's called Seraphonite,
and
I think it's spelled Cereph. I think I can't remember how to spell it, but it's pretty amazing because almost in all of it, it's in a pretty pricey crystal, but it's really good for connection to Earth. It has that nice deep green like that you would see in the deep rainforest or you know, the Basin forest and that kind of stuff. It reminds me of that. And then it almost looks like it always has brushed angel wings on it. So to me, it brings in a lot of energy from source as well as energy from Earth. So it's almost like it's a combination of both. Very strong energy. And I feel that's a stone that comes when people really need faith, when they need to bring hope back into their life and they realize that hope is limitless and so is love. It's just an amazing stone. So
yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, it's pretty pricey though. So because I think it became like an in stone for a while, but now it's getting, you know, people are going towards, just like anything else, you have fads. You know, amethyst was huge for years. Everybody wanted, you know, the big giant amethyst because of the purple. So they all carry these vibrations, but I also love serpentine. Serpentine's a green one that has all different, you know, and a lot of people, I think it's a completely underrated gem. I'm like, there's so much that comes out. I know, so do I. It's got such an awesome, that is definitely a grounding stone. So, yeah. You know, and then there's other people that like these, you know, there's some jaspers that I'm just like, ew, that's like the ugliest stone ever. You know, or the ugliest. So, I mean, I admit it. People are like, oh, do you have any picture jasper? And I'm like, no, because it looks like sand to me. It doesn't. I'm not a big fan of picture jasper, so I've never connected with that vibration of it. You know, I love agates. I think agates are beautiful. There's always layers and layers, and I feel they're like
yes, they are gorgeous. It's like a whole ecosystem inside some of those stones. It's crazy looking. Does it matter if it's natural or polished? I mean, does it lose its anything or gain anything by being polished, do you think, or do you have an opinion on that?
I think it's just a personal preference for how you're feeling and what you're attracted to. Some people really, really like the raw. Other people like the polished and the worked, you know, worked crystals. I like both. I go through periods where I'm like, oh, I really like that raw crystal and the points, and it doesn't, you know, it conforms. I feel that crystals talk to people, and after a while, like, you know, I'll use Renee for an example here. I was sitting, I had this amethyst for a while, and I kept looking at it. I would meditate and I would look at it, and one day, it was like plain as day, I saw the outline of a profile view of a lion, a male lion. The way the white went, the purple, and where the eye was like a heart-shaped crystal. And then I saw the mane and everything, and I knew right away I have to send this to Renee. So I packed it up and I sent it to Renee. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I know, I've been looking at that stone.
That's neat.
I've been looking at that. I've been looking at that amethyst for months and I've never seen it. And that day, I was just like, well, there's the lion. And that's happened with Chris, too. I have a very deep connection with Chris. So, and there's been many times where I'll be looking at a stone and I'm like, I need to send that to Chris, and I'll just send it off. So there are times where the stone will actually show me what I need to know. And sometimes people don't let that happen. They don't, they just, you know, they're like, oh, I want the pretty purple one. I'm like, well, which one's talking to you? Which one? Touch them. You know, when I do those shows, I'm like, pick them up and touch them, because what you're attracted to with your eye might not be what you feel with the vibration. I've had people pick up one and they're like, oh, I really love this from across the room, but when I pick it up, it doesn't feel right.
That's so
interesting. It doesn't feel right in their hand.
But true, it's true. It is true. I mean, I have found, there's a crystal shop close to me that we go into sometimes, and I have found that to be very true. I'll see something that catches my eye, and I'll go over and pick it up, and I'm like,
yeah.
No thanks.
It's really fascinating, and that's why you know, when I do the shows, everybody will be like, do you have, you know, any more of these? And I'm like, no, I pick out according to vibration. So I'll have one piece that other crystal dealers that are there, or people that have or selling the crystals don't have, because I picked them out according to that. I'm also, this is horrible and I probably shouldn't say this, but I pick them out where it's according to vibration for me as well. So I'm like, well, if they don't sell, then I'll keep it.
Right. Then I have an awesome collection, and 3 years later I'll see some image in it and send it to somebody. That's funny, though, because that's a great way to, I'm going to try that with my wife and see if she'll start letting me collect rocks.
Yeah, my husband, after a while, he was like, okay, this is getting out of hand. And I'm like, well, you know, and I went through this phase where it was all salt, like anything salt. The Himalayan salt, the white salt, anything salt. So I was buying lamps. I didn't like any of the carved ones. I don't know why. They just didn't vibrate with me or connect with me like the raw ones. But I was buying like 300-pound salt lamps. I'm like, I have to have that. And it got to a point where my husband was like, okay, you can't do that. Well, I really got to know the guy that, you know, he's like, you know, if you show me what salt, you know, what parts of the salt you like, I'll cut it for you. So he started cutting it for me, and I like it in the raw, and I had some with these amazing layers, and I was just totally into the connection with salt and the cleansing and purification and everything that it did, and then I just kind of tapered off. So then when I started to taper off and disconnect from it, people were like, do you have any salt lamps? Do you have any of the big ones? Do you have any of this? I sold them all out. So it's like they came in, they served their purpose for me, and they did what they needed to do, and then they went to the people that needed them the most. And that's what I always tell people, you know, with my readings as well. People have 6 and 7 generations of crap in their basement. And I said, what was important to the generation before you isn't necessarily important to the generation that it was left to. So people are scared to get rid of grandma's things because they're like, well, it was grandma's, it's ugly and I don't like it, so I keep it in the basement, nobody sees it. I'm like, well, why don't you take a picture of that, make a nice picture book of it, and then sell it, because somebody else would love that, the energy that is connected to grandma's pots and pans. Somebody's like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for this pan since 1945. You know, I could never find them anywhere. I can't believe. So I always feel like the crystals are the same way. They go to the person they're supposed to. And I have a personal collection that I'll never sell, that I'm very, very connected with, and that has not changed. But it's relatively small. All the other ones I've picked out by vibration. I thought I was going to keep, like the salt. Like, I mean, seriously, I had a salt lamp that was as tall as me. I'm 5'4", and it weighs like 300 pounds. So I do not weigh 300 pounds. I just want to say for the record, I do not weigh 300 pounds. But I loved on that. I loved that. I had it on all the time. It was in my office. My husband was so mad that I got it because I'm the one that makes him move that shit around. No, we're not moving it. It's staying in that corner. He's like, you can feng shui all around it.
Well, there's actually a question in the chat room too. I think I don't know if you can see it or not. Amber asked about Organite. Are you familiar with?
Aragonite, yes. I had a star. I love Aragonite. Aragonite's usually found in caves. It comes in, you can have cave calcite, which is white. It almost looks like a crystallized form of coral. Then we have, my dog's going nuts. She always picks up on my energy. I'm sorry. And Aragonite can be, look very orange. It comes in very many different colors. It's an amazing connected stone. I love Aragonite.
Oh, neat. I'll have to check that. I have not, and there's so many of them. I think that's why I like crystals so much, is because there's such a variety. So I'm glad Amber posted that in there, because I'm going to check that out. I love seeing new ones all the time also, even if I don't get to bring them home. I do definitely enjoy and you know, looking at them, even if I don't get to have them in my house.
Yeah, no, Aragonite is really, really beautiful, but it definitely will remind you of stalactites and caves and that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
It's amazing. But you can get they'll call it cave calcite, which is a type of Aragonite. There's all different kinds there, but it's an amazing gem. I always tell, if you need to feel stability, connection, grounding, feeling like you're putting roots down, even if you know you're in a not permanent place. Like Aragonite's a really, really good stone for that. It's a really good crystal for that.
Well, if somebody wants to look at some of your products, because if we have time, I want to try to do some readings if we have some callers. But if somebody wants to get in touch with you for your to look at some of your products, your crystals and stuff, how can they reach you?
Well, you can reach me at my office through Kathleen Moore Reading at gmail.com. You can also call the office at 330-554-8202. I can always text pictures. Sometimes I do put them out on my web page, but I'm really, really bad at taking them down once they get sold and getting them up there. I just don't have. Now
you put them on your Instagram too, don't you? I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I saw.
I do post. I post them on my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Which my Instagram is Kathleen Moore 37, and my Facebook page is Kathleen Moore Psychic. So, but I do post them on there too. Most of them, like I said, and I do private shopping. If people want a specific, they're like, this is what I feel I'm going through, or if they're like, would you like to do, I've had great success with connecting with my client's energy and the psychic energy of the gems or the stones and getting them something that works for them. But there's lots of, unfortunately, because I'm a one-woman show, I just don't have the time to post every day what crystals I have in and that kind of stuff. So it's just like trying to keep up
with, yeah.
Yeah, I try to do my live videos every week, and then I'm like, everybody's like, well, you said you'd be here every week, and I'm like, I sorry. So now I don't do it every week.
I love that you do those live streams too. So if you guys check Kathleen out on Facebook, she pulls a card almost every week. Mm-hmm. She's got her Instagram's really cool. She's got not all of her crystals on there. There's a ton of them on there. It's a great page. So check out some of that stuff. If you would like a reading tonight, we're going to do some readings here in just a minute. The call-in number is 631-353-4342, and you enter show 720, and then you'll press, I'll see you, call in, and I will unmute you when it's your turn. There are a couple of people that are called in. I'm not sure if they're called in for readings or not, but we'll find out here in just a second. Okay. But before we get started, I wanted to just remind everybody a little bit about what's coming up Next week on Energy Readings with Shelby Aesthetic, we're going to do, it's going to be about connecting to the soul, inner guidance. There'll be a short meditation during that show also. On the 17th, we have Selena B. She's a return guest. She's also a local Huntsvillian. She does tarot. She does tarot on Monday nights at a local bar here. So it's kind of interesting. She takes care of all the underground music that happens throughout the city of Huntsville and brings in new music to Huntsville. It's really awesome. So if you want to call in for a reading, you can go ahead and do that. I am going to, since I went over, Kathleen, I'm sorry to do that. I always have so many questions and I never have enough time to get through it all. So I'm going to unmute the first caller if you're ready, Kathleen.
Sure.
408. Okay, are you there? 408. Area code. That could be a 406. I better get my glasses. Nope, it's 408. All right, let's try the next caller. I have a 703. Are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Are you calling for a reading tonight?
Yes, that would be great. I'm also into crystals, by the way. I have like 5 of them on my wrist at all times.
I know, they're like tattoos. Like once you get one,
yes.
and then the next thing you know, you look down and you have like 30 different.
Yes.
You know, like
people are like, oh, I love your bracelets. I'm like, oh, it's great. So people are like, I love your bracelets. Like, no, they're crystals.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. It is. I have all mine on display too, so I'm always like trying to dust them and make them all pretty, and it's Okay, so Kathleen is the guest, so I always let the guest go first. So can you tell us your name, and then Kathleen will give you a reading, and then I'll follow up after that.
Sure. My name is Andrea.
Okay. So, Andrea, I see lots of animals around you. Do you work with rescue?
Do I work with what now?
Rescue? I see a lot of animals around you.
No.
Okay. I'm seeing all these animals around you, and I see this like deep connection to like a wild, like the feeling of wild. And I'll tell you, I see like evergreens around you, and then there's a gentleman that steps up, and I know it sounds really weird, but it's almost like I smell like wood chips, like you would smell it at a sawmill. Did you have somebody in your family pass away that worked in lumber or something to do with, like that kind of stuff?
Not that I know of. I was adopted, so I don't know my father's side or my mother's side very well, but no, I don't think so.
Okay. So I'm seeing this deep connection to wild. Like I see animals all around you. I see like almost like collages. I see like a bear, an eagle, a wolf, a salmon, a tuna. I see all of these different types of animals around you. So that gives me that if you're not working with rescue or you don't work in wildlife or something to do with that, that usually signifies to me that you have this, very deep wild spirit. And the man that steps up keeps telling me that he watches over you constantly, and he hasn't missed any major milestone in your life, but I feel he's been passed for a long time. Like I feel that he may have passed before you were born. And I do smell like when I'm connecting with his energy, I smell like the only way I would know how to describe it is like sawmill or a chainsaw. When wood is first cut. So I smell that around him too, and he keeps talking about you making a major decision here over the next couple of weeks. The stones that you keep with you, is that for healing?
Yes.
Okay, because he keeps telling me that you're headed in the right direction for healing. Do you have respiratory issues and fibromyalgia? I don't want to talk about your medical stuff because I'm not a medical intuitive, but
I have just stomach issues, but I have a slow digestive system.
Okay, and I mean, I don't want to talk about people's private, medical stuff on air, but he keeps telling me that you were misdiagnosed with fibromyalgia at one time. Is that correct?
No, I didn't have that. I know a friend that had it. I don't.
Okay. So, because he keeps talking about how they missed something that was very important. But the stones are actually helping. So I do feel that you picked the right stones for your healing. And he's showing me that he's around you quite a bit. There's a woman that he holds her hand that's with him too, and she loves you very much, but she doesn't want to hurt your heart. So I don't know if you have a specific question for them, but they keep talking about your wild spirit, your free spirit, and your connection to Earth. So it's really pretty fascinating.
My birth mother is a psychic, so she does a lot of past life things. I can see things and I can hear things and I pick up on things, and sometimes it's kind of, annoying because I pick up people's energy a lot. I'm thinking, where's that coming from? It's not mine.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense with what they're showing me then. And I feel like there's connection, because, when you see that kind of animals and free spirit, and if you're not working in that field, that usually means that you have many different avenues that are available to you. But I'm actually seeing that your health is going to improve over this next year. I'm seeing that there's going to be some really good things come of it. The woman that that's standing with him, she keeps telling me that she doesn't want to set you back in your grief. So I'm not sure who she is or why she's saying that. So I'll just give that information to you, but she shows me that she helped you on your journey in your past. So if your grandmother was a psychic, that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, we were pretty close. She passed away, I think, 2012.
Okay. And do you carry aventurine with you, like a green stone aventurine?
Green? No, it is a green. Aventurite or something? Not labradorite. What's the other green one?
There's jade, there's aventurine, but I pronounced it wrong. Aventurine, and I don't know why I can't pronounce it properly. I'm very sorry about my background noise.
Labradorite, citrine, rose quartz, blue agate, and then one other one I can't pronounce. It's the green one. It's for.
Could it be malachite?
No, it's like to ward off evil stuff. It's like to keep evil stuff at bay.
Okay, so it's probably green tourmaline then.
No, that's not it. But I can't think of it. As soon as I get off the phone, I'm sure I will that was it. But
that's what happened with me too. But she actually showed me she sent you the green one to protect you. She actually showed me the green one. That's what I knew. Yeah, she showed me that she sent the green one to you. So I feel that one actually came to you as a gift from her.
Okay. That's what I have them in a little tiny, like a little stone. Sometimes when I go somewhere and they have a tiger eye in there and a garnet for my birthstone, that sometimes when I go to important places, I carry them too.
So I think that it's pretty interesting that she's showing me. I think that you have some follow through that's coming through. I feel like your free spirit is feeling a little bit caged right now. That might be because of your illness, but she's showing me that we have some really good things coming. And then this gentleman, since you were adopted, I feel like I'm connecting to a biological parent or somebody that's biologically connected to you. But I really feel he passed away before you were born. So it's probably a grandfather or an uncle, or unfortunately he's not telling me who he is, but he shows me all the animals. I actually almost see it like as a painting. So I don't know. Do you have a dream catcher?
Aventurine, that's what it is. It's aventurine.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yep, that's what it is. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was adopted. I did the DNA Ancestry.com to find out who my birth father is, but I still don't. It gives me, I think, pretty much on my mother's side, but I'm trying to figure out the father's side before he does pass away, because I'm 55, so he's got to be in his 70s.
Right. So this gentleman keeps showing me that, and it's funny because she showed me avatary, that's why I was like,
yeah.
She sent that as a gift to you. So I don't know if you have anything that I can answer for what I saw, because I know Shelby is ready for you as well. But
I kind of had a question. I was going out with this guy, and we sort of had a falling out, and I don't know if you see us getting back together or moving on with this new person.
I do not. I think you'll be moving on with the new person. I think he was just a stepping stone to awaken you.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. He went back to the ex-wife because they have children together, and apparently she's dangling some sort of carrot in front of him, like blackmail, something like that, to keep him back and have him come back.
He's not strong enough, and he doesn't have a free spirit like you do, so I feel like he was just put in your path as a stepping stone, and as much as that kind of sucks and it hurts, it opens the door for you to realize that you truly want to be somebody's everything, and I feel that you'll give that wholeheartedly as well. So
the jellyfish.
So I think that and that could be why she's showing me the green stone as well, the healing stone, and the protection. So
okay, the new guy I met is really super nice and really sweet. So
give him a chance.
It works out. I am definitely giving it. Yeah, absolutely.
So it was wonderful talking to you, and I'll let Shelby go from here. So thank you so much, Andrea. It was nice to talk to you.
You too.
Hi, Andrea.
Hello.
So I know you didn't really have too much of a specific question. You were talking a little bit about the relationships, but so I kind of wanted to go off of a little bit about what Kathleen was talking to in the very beginning. She mentioned the smell of wood, and it was a very similar smell. It was very outdoorsy. I don't want to go too much into that energy though, because you don't know the individual, okay? But I do want to talk to you about the relationship part. So I only mentioned that with Kathleen as sort of like, well, I'm validating for myself too, because we both had a similar experience with that. Unless you have another specific question.
Oh yeah, I was just curious if you thought that you would kind of like end up back together, or would he come back, or would he come back at different.
I do think he's going to at least attempt to come back or try to partake in being at least intimate in a way with you, emotionally especially. But I don't see anything solidifying with that. I don't even think that when I go forward in your energy, if I push your energy forward, I don't feel that energy as I go down. But what I do feel, and we're in, what is this, October now? What I do feel, this is, let me see where I am here with your energy. Because I feel like things start to speed up really fast with this other person. I think it goes, like maybe it starts out more platonic than anything. But I think when you do start becoming involved with the next person, because I do feel like there's another energy there, that it's going to be fast, and it's going to move fast. There may be... I feel like, but I do think it's going to end definitely where your heart is with the other person. What's interesting about the connection between you and the first individual that you were asking about, and the connection there's this, it looks like black lace that surrounds or that goes between the two of you, right? So that's usually my symbol for the expression of truth not coming out all the way from the parties. So basically there's a lack of truth being spoken with each other, the communication is dimmed by, and that could also be from not recognizing and understanding one's own feelings. So I don't mean that somebody's being completely deceptive with you. I just mean that he doesn't understand or is incapable of communicating with you in a way that you can relate to. I did hear you say that you were an empath, or I thought I did, or you were sensitive or psychic or something. And what I do want to tell you is I think a lot of what you're feeling in connection with him also, the discernment is going to come when you're going to realize that the feelings, the attachment and stuff that you have with him it's probably not as sticky as you feel like it is. Because I feel like a lot of what's happened is as soon as I heard your voice, your energy is very what's the word, alluring. You want to flow into it, which is real typical of somebody that's sensitive or empathic. You have a very healing energy in that way. So people tend to flow. I imagine you get a lot of people that want to dump their problems come to you.
Yes.
Because they feel like you can. Well, they feel like you can kind of work through some of those things. The problem is you get their energy lodged into your energy, and then you have a hard time discerning, well, what is me and what is them? So really, if you can clear some of that energy out, you may be able to disconnect from him a little bit better. Because I don't think it's like, I feel grief, sadness in a way about it, but I don't know that that's like all you. Okay, so
it's not me. It's all him.
Yeah, I think he's kind of laid that into your, and so it's just like sitting there. And I mean, even when I try to get past some of it, it's very much. Now there is part of you that does hold on to that. Okay, so you're getting something from that, and I don't know if it's the discernment between what's mine and what's his, or if it's. Or I'm not sure what you're getting from it, but for some reason I do see you hold on to it just a little bit, and it just fits right, and it fits right around your sacral chakra, and there is some fear in there too. So I don't know if it's, again, I don't want to get too personal on air either, but I would just say I don't see anything sticking between the two of you. I do think that there's still going to be communication and contact, but I don't think things are going to work out the way that you were maybe hoping. I do see you with somebody else, and I feel like
his name is Robert. He's a very nice guy.
Well, I feel like it's going to go in a direction that it's going to happen really. It's almost a sweeping energy. So once it starts going, it just goes really fast. So I think that if anything, that'll be fun, and have fun with it. That's the big part. Please have fun with it, because there's too much happening in too little time in this world for us not to be able to enjoy ourselves. So please, please enjoy yourself. And can I ask you also, now, are you there's something around, and this could be a work line maybe. I don't know if work is the right word here. It's usually centered right when I look at energy. I can usually tell, like, if I'm looking into relationships, there's a certain chord that I look at, or if I'm looking at work, there's a certain, and this looks something similar to work, but it's not quite work. I'm not sure if you're volunteering somewhere, or if you're doing some extra work that's not like a career-oriented path, or if you're working. It looks technical in a way, like you're putting a lot of mind power behind it. Does that resonate with you?
I'm trying out for a TV show.
Oh, a TV show.
Yeah, I'm going in 4 weeks to New York City to try out for America's Got Talent.
Oh, cool. How fun will that be?
Yeah. This is my 7th time trying out.
That'll be really fun, actually. I've always wondered about, so when you go into those places, is that like the one with the big crowd in it, or is that the one where you just do with the judge sitting alone?
The first one is like a talent call, so everybody goes and you perform in front of a bunch of producers, and then if they like you, then you move up to the TV round in front of Simon and all the judges. Yeah, well, I actually perform music in sign language.
Well, good luck with you. I hope that, I'm not sure if what I'm seeing is connected to that, but I'm bringing it up because I feel like things are getting turned over, like on their head. Like I feel like there's I don't mean this in a bad way, but I feel like the energy just dumps out, like there's a big flood of emotion that comes with it, and it's very much associated with some type of work that you're doing, but it's not career. It's just something that you're putting a lot of work into. I just can't quite put my finger onto it, but it really looks like there's a big dumping of emotion that happens surrounding it, and I do see other people. Nobody looks, like hurt or angry or anything like that, so I wouldn't be too worried or concerned about it. It just sort of twists up. I feel like this goes through maybe November, maybe even a little sooner than that. So just kind of keep your eyes open for that, especially if you start feeling pressure to do something that you're not really wanting to do, because I feel like there's resistance coming in from you.
Well, my job wants me to go to a different town, and I really don't want to go, but I kind of have to go if I still want a job. Maybe that could be it.
That could be it, because that would be connected to work in a way. It's just such an interesting. I don't usually see it like that, but it's definitely. When I pull through to the end of it, though, I don't feel anything that's like feels harmful or bad or anything like that. It just feels like like your world gets turned upside down for just a short period of time.
Okay.
Andrea, it was nice to meet you. Thank you so much for calling in tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
All right, Kathleen, that was our one and only reading for tonight. But it was fun, and I had such a fun time with you tonight. And I just to remind everybody, you can find Kathleen, Psychic Medium Kathleen Moore. She's on Twitter, she's on Instagram, she's on Facebook. She's got an amazing shop full of all kinds of stuff. You guys should see my crystal ball that I got from her. It's freaking huge, and I love it so much. I named it as soon as I got it and everything. But she sits right on my desk when I do readings, and I love her. So please check out Kathleen and all the stuff that she does. She's an amazing reader. I love listening to you do the live readings that you do on your Facebook, Kathleen. I love listening to you on Chris's show, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life, and I appreciate you coming on the show tonight.
Well, I had such a wonderful time, and I'm so honored that you asked me, because you're kind of like a rock star to me. So.
Oh my God! I'm like, every time I have somebody on, I'm like, I love you. I just can't help it. I don't know. I'm excited, and I was so excited to finally do this. We had to cancel twice, but said the Earth had to adjust frequency to handle all this awesomeness from the both of us on one night.
I know. Finally, it happened, and I'm so grateful. But I'm guessing it happened at the time it was supposed to.
Yeah, all the retrogrades are gone, right?
Right. So everybody's in a good place. So it was such a pleasure being here, and I had such a wonderful time. So thank you for
so
letting
much,
me just
Kathleen.
ramble on.
I'd love to have you back on again soon, and I'm sorry I ran us over. It's probably my fault we didn't have too many callers, but I'm just so fascinated by all the information. So, okay, I will let you go. You have a fantastic evening. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. And those of you listening on archive, I appreciate you also listening. And to remember that we're broadcasting off IntuiTalks.com. We will see you next week. Have a good night, and take